Hey, hello everyone. I'm sitting right here in North Texas with my toasty jacket on because it's getting kind of chilly out here. And I was just thinking, a lot of people are thinking that the United States is the land of diminishing opportunity. And you know what? They have a point there because, it seems that way. What are opportunities out there for me to have a good life? And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take you back to the 1970s and I'm going to take you to my dad's auto wrecking yard. He owned an auto salvage yard. And I remember as a kid, I used to work there during the summers, and I remember overhearing a conversation between my dad and one of his longtime customers. And they had a pretty interesting conversation. In fact, the customer was saying to my dad that he was buying land in Orange County and that he was buying it by the acres. And he recommended to my dad that my dad should do the same thing. And of course, my dad, of course, he thought about it, but he had probably other things to think about and other things to do, and he never got around to buying land in Orange County. To make a long story short about that, I guess the rest is history for that gentleman who had a conversation with my dad about purchasing land in Orange County, because I'm pretty sure it turned out good for him, because land in Orange County is very expensive now, and I'm pretty sure that his kids and his grandkids are enjoying the fruits of that gentleman's good decision. And see, and that's what it is, right? Good decisions, because good decisions are what lead to, let's say, living a good life. Good decisions are kind of like the gift that continues to give. And with that in mind, right now, the United States has morphed into the land of good decisions, right? It used to be the land of opportunity, that it was wide open for you. Now, it is the land of thoughtful, good decisions. And you can still benefit and still live a good life in the United States just by making good, solid decisions. And if you think about that gentleman right there, he did exactly what investors hoped would happen with their investments, that someday he would see it trending in the right direction and it will blossom for him, and it turns into this nice fruit tree that continues to give fruits year after year after year. You can still do the same thing right now, because it seems like all the opportunities and all the attention is shifted over to, let's say, the stock market, investing in stocks. The stock market is kind of like acres and diamonds. Excuse me. I guess there was a book called Acres of Diamonds. Well, think of that and transfer it to acres of stocks, because there's literally like about 1,700 stocks out there you can purchase. I wouldn't recommend, just say go any, mini, miny, mo and pick any one of those 1,700 stocks. No, don't do that, because some companies are better than others, right? And that's what it is. When you make good decisions, you pick out the real good companies that are trending in the right direction and you buy them. Me personally, I don't buy a whole lot of stocks. I'm more or less into blue chip stocks, companies that have been around for a while, because I like index funds and ETFs. Those are safer ways for me to invest in the stock market. I'll just buy the whole thing and let the stock market historically just trend up that 8 to 10%. That's the way I invest. But I also invest in a few stocks. I own Coca-Cola. I own Johnson and Johnson. I own a few railroad stocks. The reason why I own those, some insurance companies, the reason why I own those, because people have to have insurance and people have to deal with banks. And railroad companies are very important. I remember hearing the news. I remember when the president at the time had to find a way to stop the strike from Union Pacific, because Union Pacific was too important to literally national security. I said, wow, if a company like that is that important to national security, I better purchase it. I better investigate it. So again, I looked at the numbers. I looked at the PE ratios. I looked at the payout ratio. I looked at the profit margin, and UNP at that time was ahead of all of that. It was a company that wasn't in debt, and it had a wide moat. Because think about it like this: even if you're a billionaire, let's say you had $2-3 billion, you're not gonna like make a railroad on your own, right? It's pretty. And that's what a wide moat means. It means that barriers of entry are really impossible, right? Who's going to make a railroad now? Who's going to make a railroad company now? Nobody. So that those companies, so railroads belong to Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern and Canadian National Railway. See, I buy companies like that have a natural wide moat, they have a natural defense, and they're going to be around for a while. That's it. Those are the situations where I buy stocks, because I know that those companies are going to be there for the foreseeable future. And so kind of think about it like that. You can get into stocks, you can get into ETFs again, mutual funds and that kind of thing. That's where the opportunity is, and that's where the good decisions are. And so the United States, it morphed from the land of opportunity to the land of intelligent choices. And then how do you make intelligent choices? You're really not going to be able to make a lot of intelligent choices unless you get your hands on some information, get your hands on some good books, even a few YouTube channels. Some YouTube channels have given me some great advice. And what I did, instead of just taking what they said at their word, I went ahead and investigated what they were saying. And I said, okay, all right, I'm going to go ahead and go in this direction. And it's worked out for me. And so, investing is one of those things where you're probably going to have to do, especially if you're a young person now, because think about it like this. My generation, we can keep a job for 30 years. We kept a job for 25, 30 years and getting a retirement out of it. The younger people, guess what? They can't do that. They don't have that. They don't have that luxury. They're going to have to switch job to job to job because one job becomes obsolete. Then they have to go to a new job, and then that job becomes obsolete. And then they have to keep going from job to job. And guess what? They cannot keep a 401k in one of those jobs because it wouldn't make any sense because they have to go to a new job and establish another one. You're going to have what? A whole bunch of 401ks? No, right? Me, I can have a 401k or a 403b because, I stayed in one place for a long period of time and it can accumulate a nice nest egg for me. But for the younger generation, I'm sorry. Wow, I feel bad for you that you have to go from job to job to job and you just can't stay in one place and let your retirement build up. Instead, you're probably going to have to do that research and you're going to have to figure out how to invest in stocks, which is not that bad. It's not difficult at all. I recommend get your, an education. Get your education as far as investment is concerned because it will pay off for you. Again, you don't have to invest in companies like I do. You could just invest in mutual funds, index funds, and ETFs. They will do the hard work for you. They will do the heavy lifting for you, and it will pay off. Just dollar cost average. Just do it on a consistent basis, and then 20 years from now, you may not even have to work. Right? You can live off your investments, y'all. And so this is a word to young folks, right? Because you're living in a different area than I lived in. I lived in a land of opportunity. In fact, even when I was young, that was a land of diminishing opportunity. It was becoming the land of good decisions, even as I was making my way through life. And I recommend that you kind of see it that way right now. Think of this as the land of good decisions. The more good decisions you can make right here, right in the here and now, the better off you will be, okay? So just think about it like that. And you know what? I'm going to park my plane right here, or I'm going to land my plane, and I'm going to stop and let you think about it there. All right. See you next time. Bye-bye.